I was wrong about IMAX. I have been a major advocate for IMAX the last few years. I think ever since Oppenheimer, I was just really excited about the new possibilities of the format, and films like Dune Part 2, Sinners, and One Battle After Another really just kept that going for me. And so, of course, this would all culminate with the release of Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which was the first film to ever be filmed front to back fully in IMAX. I mean, I just made a video pretty much glazing how much I love IMAX and what Christopher Nolan does with it. And so I'm really lucky that I live in Southern California and I had ample access to IMAX 70mm showings of The Odyssey. I know that's been very exclusive and a lot of people will never get the chance to kind of experience the film in that way, but for some reason after 2 showings of The Odyssey in IMAX, I am walking away feeling a bit cold on the whole thing. And you know, I really did enjoy The Odyssey. I don't think it's Christopher Nolan's best film. I mean, I'm not sure if anything will top Oppenheimer or The Dark Knight at this point, but I think I was really just unenthused about Christopher Nolan's utilization of IMAX in this film. And I think I have finally figured out the reason why. Now, don't get me wrong, I think that The Odyssey is world-class in so many of its technical aspects. I mean, the film's production value is unmatched. The way that they were able to basically film everything on location across the world. There is some incredible sound design, especially in theaters. And I really do appreciate Nolan and his whole team's commitment to practical effects. I think of things like the Cersei scene and the Cyclops. But I can't help but feel like Nolan's use of IMAX here is actually his weakest yet. And so the issue here, in my opinion, really starts with the fact that Nolan is not exactly the strongest eye behind the camera. Christopher Nolan's approach is usually pretty minimalistic when it comes to directing. Nolan is not really known for things like extravagant camera moves. In fact, he's pretty straightforward in terms of what he decides to do with the camera. And I feel like most of his stylistic flourishes come in the approach to his production design, his world building, his writing, and his editing. And it really does help that he has incredible artists on his team like Hoyt van Hoytma, his longtime cinematographer, and Jennifer Lame, the person who has edited his last 2 films. But I think the choice to make The Odyssey in IMAX front to back really emphasized Nolan's weaknesses. And so as beautiful as IMAX can be, it does come with some major limitations. And those limitations being that 1, a take in IMAX can only be about 2 to 2.5 minutes maximum, meaning that shorter takes and more rapid cuts are just going to be more common by nature of filming in IMAX. And 2, filming with an IMAX camera is extremely loud and cumbersome, and that filming the entire movie with IMAX meant that they had to build a specialized rig, a blimp around the camera to be able to film these quieter dialogue sequences, which in turn made an already bulky camera even more cumbersome to operate. And so whereas Oppenheimer kind of felt like Nolan pulled off a miracle, where he combined things like a montage, tension, and a propulsive score to make the whole thing feel like a symphony, I can't help but feel like The Odyssey just comes off a lot clunkier. And so I guess my biggest criticism of the film is that Nolan's direction does not feel particularly inspired. I don't want to go as far as saying it's uninspired, but I think there is just a problem with the way Nolan approached this movie. And so I guess scene to scene, it just feels like this movie is lacking in intentionality. In terms of composing his shots, I think Nolan relies too heavily on what you might call iconic imagery of just one main figure standing in the middle of a frame, a hallmark of Nolan at this point. But I was really disappointed by the way that this film is just lacking in its attention to shot composition and blocking. I mean, just look at films like Ron or Barry Lyndon, for example. I mean, I can't help but feel like Nolan's direction for every scene was, let's do it big, let's do it loud, and let's get out of here. And I think it's interesting that a movie like Oppenheimer, which was filmed in 2 different aspect ratios, both in color and black and white, somehow feels more cohesive and more visually appealing than The Odyssey did, which had IMAX front to back. But in my view, that is because the different formats and the different color stocks in Oppenheimer were planned out in advance with intention, whereas that purpose is lacking in The Odyssey. I think a balance of different film formats would have allowed, let's say for example, the dialogue sequences to play out in a longer take, perhaps one long master shot where the performances would really get to shine, but instead almost all of the dialogue sequences are shot, reverse shot, kind of plain and boring because they committed to filming them in IMAX. And the use of different aspect ratios can actually subconsciously help with the pacing of the film. Expanding or downsizing the aspect ratio can really allow for the audience audience to breathe or for them to lock in at the right moment. I'm thinking of scenes like the Burj Khalifa in Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol or the atom bomb sequence in Oppenheimer. And that just comes back to the fact that those scenes were filmed with an incredible amount of intention and precision, rather than if those films were in IMAX from front to back. And so I think Nolan just really relied a little too heavily on the technical aspects of this movie, rather than the artistic side of his direction that went into creating a visually appealing film. And I think that it's just proof that IMAX does not equal good cinematography. And I think shot composition and blocking, as well as the performances and writing, are all much more important than what technically goes into shooting a film. And so honestly, I hope Nolan's next film is not entirely in IMAX, and I don't know that I ever need this again, until we at least get a film that can justify the use of IMAX like this. But like I said, I did enjoy The Odyssey. I just had to come on here and say this because I was not expecting to feel so conflicted about the use of IMAX. But please let me know if you agree or disagree. I would love to have a conversation about it. And thank you to whoever watched this. I really appreciate it. Please give me a like and subscribe. It would really help out my channel. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one.